Good day, everyone. I'm Oluwagbemi Benjamin. I was formerly called Alabelewe Benjamin. I'm a government and civic education teacher, and I've been teaching government for over 16 years. I'm also a consistent NECO and WAEC examiner for over 10 years. I'm here to help you as a student as you study civic education, and at the same time to help you as a teacher in some areas of difficulties. So welcome to my YouTube handle. Please do subscribe to get information of the new videos as soon as it is posted. So join me as we move to class right away. And today I shall be discussing the structures and the functions of government. Structures and the functions of government. And of course, um, there are some aspects I'll touch, which of course will be of a great benefit to you as I continue. Okay, so structures and functions of government. I will concentrate majorly on our country, Nigeria, or on my country, Nigeria. The structure of governance in Nigeria uh, is can be broken down into three major institutions or organs, and these are the legislature, the executive, the judiciary. The three of them are called the institutions of government. They could also be called the organs of government, or you call them the branches of government. So let's start. The legislature or the legislator. When I say the legislature, I'm talking about the body of legislators. An individual is a legislator, while the group is the legislature. And this is the body that is vested with the responsibility of making the laws that govern the affairs of the nation. Okay. Now, the legislature is the organ that makes the law. At the federal level, the legislature is made up of two chambers. Okay, so in other words, we have two legislative chambers at the federal level in Nigeria. Okay, we have the upper house, we have the lower house. The upper house is the Senate, the lower house is the House of Representatives. You could also say that the upper house is the red chamber, while the lower house is the green chamber. The head of the upper house, who is the Senate, right, is the Senate president, and the members of the upper house are called senators. While the members of the lower house, which we call the House of Representatives, is the Speaker of the House of Representatives, and the members of the House of Representatives are called the honorables. Okay. So at the state level, we have just one legislative chamber. And so we said at the state level, we practice unicameral legislature. Okay. And this unicameral legislature is called State House of Assembly. It's also headed by a speaker. And then we have the local government. So at this point, let me quickly point it out that we have three tiers of government in Nigeria. We have the federal, we have the state, and then we have the local government. So at the local level, the legislature is called the Legislative Council, the local government council, and is headed by a chairman. The members of that council are called the councillors. Okay, so let's move on. This is the book of Constitution. It is important, or a picture, the back page of the book of Constitution of Nigeria. At this point, it's important I say that Nigeria operates a rigid and written constitution, or what you say, written and rigid constitution. By written, is contained in a book like this and is well codified. Single book, not in different books. Now, rigid. We said it requires a special procedure for its making and its amendment. Let's go. We said that the Senate president, like I said before, the current Senate president is Ahmad Ibrahim Lawal, right? And he's still there even till now that I'm making this video, January 2021, right? And the current Speaker of the House is Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, okay? He's still the incumbent Speaker of the House. Then, functions of the legislature. They have the power to amend the constitutions. They are saddled with that responsibility of amending the constitution, of looking into the loopholes in the constitution and fixing it. They have the power to remove the executive if he's found wanting in his operations or is alleged with gross misconduct. They could remove the president, they could remove the governor through a process called impeachment. Impeachment. Now, the first governor to be impeached that was impeached in Nigeria was Governor Balarabe Musa, right, who was the governor of Kaduna State. And then they have the power to approve the appointments of the ministers, ambassadors, special advisors. The president does the appointment while the legislature does the approval. Okay, they have the power to summon the president, they have the power to summon the ministers, they have the power to summon anybody, even the chairman of the EFCC. At the same time, the legislature has the power to approve the budget as presented to them by the executive. Now let's go. Who are the executives? The executive is the arm of government that has the responsibility of implementing or enforcing the law. They are saddled with the responsibility of carrying out the day-to-day administration of the country to ensure peace and orderliness in the federation. So the overall head of the executive at the federal level is the president. He is the chief, he is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, okay? Or you call him the grand commander of the order of the Federal Republic, the Grand Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic. Okay, so in other words, if they ask you who is the president is the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. Okay, even though he's a democratic, whether be a democratic leader or military head, is the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, and at the same time is the Grand Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic. Okay, is elected into office for a fixed tenure of 4 years because we operate a Republican government, right? And he can still seek re-election on good note if he's liable, if he's not impeached. Okay, he could seek re-election for another tenure of 4 years. After which, even if the people want him, he must step aside and later come back. Of course, he has the whole country as his constituency. In another video, I will explain to you what constituency means. Okay, but nevertheless, and of course, even I'll tell you about the federal constituencies, and I'll tell you about senatorial districts. But let me just say that the constituency is an electoral district. Okay, so the president also chooses his ministers to form his cabinet, and at the state level, the head of the executive is the governor, while at the local government level, the head of the executive is the chairman. This is a picture of the current president of Nigeria, and his name is President Muhammadu Buhari. This is another powerful personality in the country, and that is the current chief of staff, and his name is Professor Ibrahim Gambari. We have another member of the executive who is Boss Mustafa. He is the secretary to the government of the federation. It is important I let you know that You listening to me, you are also a member of the executive. I am also a member of the executive. And the security apparatus of the country, the military, the police, the paramilitary, they are all members of the executive. The workers in the civil service, the public servants, the journalists, the press, and others are members of the executive. Okay, so let's continue. Now, what role do the executive perform, or what are the functions of the executive? Number one, they formulate policies to govern the interest of the people. They don't make laws, they make policies. They come up with programs that will help them to administer the states without chaos. Number two, they appoint their officials. And like I said before, the president appoints his officials who work with him. Likewise, the governors does, the local government chairman does too. They have the power to declare war against any intruder, maybe a nation that is trying to intrude into the nation, or maybe any part of the country that wants to tear the country apart. So they prevent external aggressions and internal insurrections. Take note of that: external aggressions and internal insurrections. They have the power of pardon. This is called the prerogative of mercy. What did I call it? Prerogative of mercy. It's a legislative it's a judicial function performed by the executive. Okay, they have the power to grant pardon to criminals, national pardon to prisoners. Okay, they initiate bills, which you call the public bills. Okay, and these bills, and what are bills? Bills are legislative proposals that become laws after it must have been approved, after it must have passed through or satisfactorily passed through the stages in the legislature and duly assented by the executive. They have the power of supervision. They supervise the apparatus of the state to ensure that everything is in order. They sign bills to law. This is the legislative function performed by the executive, right? The legislature would work on the bill, and then it will be forwarded to the president for assent. And then at the state level, the bylaws are forwarded to the governor for approvals. And then the third arm of government, or the third branch of government, or the third institution of government is the judiciary. And this organ is composed of professional lawyers and less political officers. They have the primary responsibility of interpreting or adjudicating the laws. They protect the Constitution. They make the laws lucid to the people. They make it clearer to the people. They make it understandable to the people. Okay? They make it, they remove the ambiguities in the law. Okay? So, the judiciary operates the courts within the country. I should quickly say that the highest court in the country at the moment is the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court came into being in 1954 during the Oliver Lytton's constitution, right? But as at that time, it was not the highest court. The highest court was the Privy Council, okay? And then October 1st, 1963, the Supreme Court no longer appealed again to the Privy Council, so the Supreme Court assumed its highest position. And so since then, since 1963, the Supreme Court has been the highest court in Nigeria. Then we have the State High Court at the state level, which is the highest court, right? And is headed by the Chief Judge of the state. It's appointed by the governor of the state. Then we have the lowest court is the Sharia court, or you call it the magistrate court, depending on the locality. Okay, the magistrate court is headed by the chief magistrate, while the Sharia court is headed by the Grand Qadi. Okay, also we have the Federal Court of Appeal, and the Federal Court of Appeal is headed by by the president. Please take note of that. Now, the judiciary performs several functions. But before I come to this, let me quickly show you these pictures. This is the picture of the Supreme Court of Nigeria. And then this is the picture of Aloma Miriam Mukhtar, who happened to be the first and at the moment the only female Chief Justice in Nigeria. Or he said the Chief Justice of Nigeria. This is the Attorney General of the Federation and is also the Minister of Justice. I should quickly tell you this, that apart from the Supreme Court, we have the Ministry of Justice. And the Ministry of Justice is headed by an Attorney General. He has dual office. It's called the Minister of Justice and also the Attorney General of the Federation. So the current head of the Ministry of Justice is Abubakar Malami, and he is called the Attorney General of the Federation and the Minister of Justice. And this is the most senior legal personnel in the country, and is the current Chief Justice of Nigeria, right? His name is Ibrahim Tanko Muhammad. Ibrahim Tanko Muhammad. Now, his office is in the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court is made up of senior Chief Justices, okay, and they must not be more than 21. They have a compulsory retirement age of 70. Now, let me now come back to the functions of the judiciary. The functions of the judiciary. Number one, they have the power of review and interpretation. They have the power to review the excesses of the executive and even the legislature. And when this is done, they declare the excesses null and void or ultra vires. When the executive come up with obnoxious laws, anti-democratic laws or anti-people laws, the judiciary has the power to weigh in and then declare such an action unconstitutional. So when it is declared unconstitutional, it means it's declared null and void or ultra vires. Number two, they perform the function of arbitration. They settle disputes among government apparatus, between the state and the federal, between the government and the individual, and among individuals. Number three, they protect the rights of the individuals. As a matter of fact, they are the last hope of the masses, the judiciary. Four, they have the powers to supervise laws and policies made by the legislature and the executive. They advise the president on judicial matters. All of these are the functions of the judiciary. So far, so good. This is how far we can go with the structures and the functions of the government of Nigeria. For emphasis, the structures of governance in Nigeria will be viewed from three different branches, institutions, or organs. And that is the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. The primary function of the legislature is to make the law. The primary function of the executive is to implement or interpret the law. And I said the executives don't, the primary function of the executive is to implement or enforce the law. They don't adjudicate the law. And I said they don't make laws, rather the executive make policies. Then we have the judiciary. The judiciary has the primary function of interpreting the laws or adjudicating the laws. Okay, so this is how far we can go. Should you have any question, please in the comment section, do chat me up and I will respond to your questions. If you have any topic that is disturbing you and you would like us to discuss, also type it to the comment section and I will respond to it accordingly. Thank you and God bless you. Amen.